Welcome back to the Everything Goes Podcast with your host, TAK. A weekly podcast with the latest sports news, the hottest of the hot takes, and the best predictions you can get. Now, Chris, Ace, take it away.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Everything Goes Podcast with your host again, TAK. Ace, of course, who was not able to make it with us tonight.
It's becoming a habit. Becoming a habit.
Hey, we'll have a talk with him. We're up to sit down.
Yep.
Our
He's gonna have to come. Gonna have to have a Zoom meeting, and we're gonna have to put our foot down.
A lot of playoffs going on currently in the sports world. Sixers were eliminated. The Florida Panthers went to a fourth overtime last night that I think went to roughly 1 a.m. Eastern time. I was sound asleep during that game. Football training camps going on soon. Teams are still gathering on free agents. There's just a lot of going on. Sixers are already interviewing new coaches for Doc Rivers' replacement, which we will dive into. You know, Yankees, Astros, Altuve making his debut today. Harper, a lot of stuff we could cover today. We're just happy to be back here.
Yo, that game last night, I ain't gonna lie. I tried hard to stay up. I got to the fourth overtime. I fell asleep with like 4 minutes and 38 seconds left in that period, and they scored. Florida scored with 15 seconds left in that period, man. I was dead. And I know they were dead because I was watching that game. And I tell you what, man, when they waved off that Florida goal in the first overtime because of interference, you could see the players were slowing down. They really were slowing down.
I mean, do you think about like you're skating? So here's the thing with Hurricanes. Hurricanes they don't have that whole dump and go kind of get the puck kind of attitude. They have these fast speedsters that are good at stopping on the run. They're able to slither their way in through defenders. And even for Florida side, you know, they have this scheme where they dump the puck, kind of like the Flyers do. They hit hard, they fight for the puck, and you think, man, 4 overtimes, like you got tired.
I think both of those goalies combined, I mean, if you take the total shots combined, it was well over 120 shots. I think Carolina had over 60 shots alone by themselves. I mean, it was just insane. It was a great played game. This is what the conference final should be. Great games.
Love it.
Not going to overtime. I honestly think after you go to 1 or 2 overtimes, they should go to that 4-on-4 format. Or was it the 3-on-3 that they do during the regular season?
They do 3-on-3 during the regular season, and then after the first period of overtime, they go to a shootout. But they don't do that for the playoffs, which would be cool. Would be cool.
I would agree with shootouts. But I think after the first one, I think you go from 5 players in the first overtime to 4 players in the second to 3 players in the third overtime.
Yeah,
no shootout.
Something.
It's almost like their version of baseball having the ghost runner on second base. You know, so you don't get these freaking marathon games.
Dude, yeah, they said right here, Bobrovsky had never mind, it's just a dumb stat. I don't know what I'm talking about. There was a cool stat I should have screenshot the one day where there was a stat where they were talking about just because if you truly think about it, I mean, and this is why playoff hockey is just so amazing. I mean, the number 8 seed Florida, they beat the number 1 seed Boston Bruins in Game 7. They were written over. You know, I mean, they were not supposed to be there. No one thought they would last there. They go into Toronto, you know, they beat Toronto. They've gone to so many overtimes throughout this series. I think the Hurricanes are ranked number 2. I always thought it was Toronto. I think
the Hurricanes were 1. Hurricanes were 1 in their division.
In that division. I mean, just the fight. I mean, they're up. I mean, winning Game 1's huge.
Tonight's gonna be a good game too. Dallas against the Knights. That's gonna be a great series.
I would love to see.
Kraken were finally eliminated.
Yeah,
Kraken had a great Cinderella season. But your state made history, by the way, and it wasn't for one of the biggest hurricanes this time. It was because Florida, over the last 40 years, there have been 16 instances of NBA and NHL teams from the same metro area reaching the conference finals in the same season. Florida this year, with the Heat and the Panthers, are the first team to ever do it. The first teams to ever do it and clinch on the same day.
That's pretty cool. That's pretty wild. I might have to become a Heat fan. Just kidding. I'm honestly like, I feel like
I think that train's going to end soon. I think Jimmy Butler's carried that team far enough. I think he's playing great. I just think with his injury, they're going to be done. Celtics are tough, man.
Hey, I would love to see Stanley Cup Golden Knights and the Florida Panthers. I think that'd be a really cool. I'm going to Game 3 on Monday, which we talked about before the pod. Depending on how late that game goes, I might be making an early exit because 5:45 in the morning comes early the next day.
Oh,
But
absolutely. And the thing is
I got
when
the tickets cheap before the schedule came out, so it's gonna be cool just to be there in the playoff atmosphere again.
and you're gonna be so pumped up, man. It's gonna be hard to go to sleep that night.
It's gonna be hard to leave, especially if it's like a 1-1 game. You know what I
Ooh,
mean?
yeah.
Or
But the problem is if you don't leave, then you get stuck in that parking lot.
so it's not too bad. I went to game 3 in the first round and I didn't watch Florida score 1 goal. So I'm hoping for at least one Florida goal, you know. And I don't know if there's a lot of Hurricane fans down here. There might be. There was a lot of Boston fans when I went. But do you know for the second round for the Toronto game, Florida didn't allow Canadian folks to to buy tickets for the Florida game.
Yeah, I'm kind of aggravated with Canada right now. I was rooting for Canada to win the Stanley Cup and get back there again. But damn, man, Canada's out of control right now. They got like 90 forest fires up there right now in Alberta. And like they're having a major hot spell. Like it's unheard of what's going on in Canada. And that freaking, and I'm sure if Ace was on, that cloud has come down into the United States. It gave us bad air quality all day today. It looked like it was going to rain all day today because of the haze from the smoke. And Minnesota is like, if you look on the map, you see there's like a big freaking fishing hook that comes down, covers all these states, and then goes back over.
That's crazy.
They need to keep their shit up there. Keep their freaking smoke up there.
Do they know how the fire started?
Canadian. No idea, but it's out of control. I mean, I was looking at it on the news today because when they said air quality warning for us, and we're labeled as unhealthy air quality right now. That's how bad it is.
Yeah. So what do you do in that situation? Like, are they warning you to stay indoors or
Stay
go buy some
inside.
breathing oxygen masks? Like, what's that? What's happening there?
See, my windows are open, but it seems like the wind is changing a little bit, so it might be getting. I don't know, but the thing is it's scary because like Colorado, thank God, we've been getting a lot of rain, but Colorado goes through this a lot with like fires and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And it's just crazy because I always imagine like, when Kelsey and them used to send us photos, it almost looked like Mars. Like you see the sun, it's like red, but you can't really see it because of all the smoke.
Yeah.
And it's just it's really weird. Really weird.
Dude, that's crazy. That's crazy thing. And so like when you look out the window right now, like is it bad looking or is it just hazy?
It's just because we're so far away. It just looks like a hazy morning.
Yeah.
Like this morning, I thought we had fog until I saw the notice we had. But yeah, screw Canada.
Well, the
They can keep
fires
their
aren't getting close. They're not in the United States, right? It's just the smoke.
No, it's just the smoke. But I guess Canada's in trouble.
Dang, man! Like, well,
It's no joke.
how do they fix that? Like, how do they control the air quality? Like, I'm surprised they don't have a solution for that yet.
Well, God needs to turn he needs to turn the wind and blow it towards Russia.
Some. Well,
I don't know, but anyway.
Just to put a pin in hockey, my hot take is that I'm hoping for a 4-0 sweep against the Hurricanes. I think the Panthers can win 2 on the road, and I think they're going to split at home and then win on the road again. That's kind of been their style lately.
I just hope for good hockey. I mean, I haven't watched hockey a lot, but I tell you what, since we've been doing the podcast and we've been talking about it, and I was in the pool at work, and then I bought back into the pool, and I actually got Carolina now. So
here we go again. First you're rooting against me with Boston, now Carolina.
Boston screwed me, and then I picked up Carolina. So it's really interesting, and I'm glad that hockey is really really competitive. In most, I think. Even March Madness this year has been really crazy with all the big seeds falling out. In basketball, the number 1 seed on the East, got eliminated right away.
Yeah,
and then you have Denver, who's probably going to their first championship ever. The Nuggets are playing great basketball, and they're going against LeBron James right now. But hockey's been different. Basketball, totally different. Everything you expect to happen is not happening, and that makes for a great sport.
Sports has been when you get the unknown. Really good to play.
Yeah.
You see that crazy? I saw a picture the other day where it's like you think about the Philadelphia sports world. Like Phillies make the World Series, lose. Eagles make the Super Bowl, lose. Sixers make it to the game before the series, lose.
Yeah.
It's tough world, man. Tough world. Last thing I want to say about hockey. You know what's cool about the NHL game for anyone out there that plays Xbox or PlayStation? I know you have an Xbox. Is like, I played Noah, my brother, last night, and it's cool because when you play 1-on-1, like you just control the players. You don't control the goalies. But if you go to overtime, which we did, we passed overtime. You go to shootout right off the bat. They make you control the goalies. That way it's not a computer controlling it. Dude, that's fun because it's so hard because just the slightest flick of their stick, you're going one way left and it's wide open, but you still have to shoot it and you can miss. So like the one time I buckled, man, left that net wide open, he missed, dude, for the game winner. I just wanted to share that. Don't know why, but that is so fun. The graphics in that game, the animations. Like I shot a puck against. He was the Avalanche the one day. Like full on split glove save. They'll lay on their back and block the puck. Like the animations in that game, hands down, one of the best. So fun, so fun. Just wanted to share that cup of tea.
I'm honestly just glad that the Avalanche are eliminated out here because I was so sick of hearing the Cup stays here on the radio every day.
You guys should go to a game next year. It's only like an hour from you.
Yeah.
Probably like driving to a Philly game.
It is. It's not bad.
Yeah. Well, like we said, NBA, we'll go on NBA here. The 76ers did get eliminated game 7. I don't even know why we're going to talk about game 7 because if you look at the games, it looks like they didn't even show up for game 7. No one had the heart. No one had the guts or stamina or whatever you want to call it. Like there was nothing there. There was no urge to win that game or fight for that game. I mean, what was it, 88 to 112 or something?
Well, it was a close game. It was going to be probably one of the best games ever for game 7 until the Sixers came out in the second half and got outscored 33-10 in the third quarter. And then it was over. There was nothing left. It turned out to be one of the worst game 7s besides Dallas blowing out Phoenix last year in their game 7. It's just, I think the organization right away overreacted by firing Doc Rivers. I'm not a big fan of that. And I know Rudy and Noah were on board with that.
No, Noah disagrees with it too. I think it was dumb.
I just think, who are you going to bring in? Monty Williams, they're talking about, who just got fired. And then they're talking about that Nick Nurse, which I'm not a big fan of. But Doc Rivers had a 154-82 record in 3 seasons with the Sixers. There comes a point where you got to stop blaming the coaches and you got to start looking at the players who you're spending $30 to $50 million a year on these players. And
what's your initial thought when you hear? First of all, I didn't even get the notification that Doc Rivers was gone. I just saw the notifications that the Sixers were interviewing coaches. What's your initial thought as a Sixer fan when you see that? Like, are you like, great?
My initial thought is the same thing that I said about last year. We needed James Harden to show up, and you can look
I'm talking about before we dive into Harden. I'm talking about Doc Rivers getting the boot. Initial reaction.
I hated it. I was mad.
I thought he was a good coach. I mean, I know that we aren't going to the championship every year, but like, I mean, the finals. But like, I mean, that coach is consistent with the playoffs,
and we're always in the top 3 in the East
every year, and every year we've gotten better.
Yeah, I mean, you had 3 teams this year or 4 teams this year, or whatever it was in the East, that's had over 50 wins. I mean, that's a great season for all those teams, and for us to take a Celtics team, we were number 3 seed. To take the Celtics to 7 games was amazing. We had plenty of opportunities to end that series. But
like you said, to go 33-10 in the third quarter, that's just not what you want out of a game 7. Now, let me ask you this. You agree with this statement or not? This is Stephen A. Smith talking about James Harden's performance on game 7. I want to know what your initial thoughts are. Do you agree with him? Do you think he's dumb? He said James Harden was so awful, so bad, he should actually shave his beard so he can hide his identity. That's how bad he was. It was really, really bad. I say that in all seriousness. You agree with that?
Absolutely, 100%. I mean, shaving a beard I can care less about, but I think James Harden is one of the problems. I mean, the guy averaged, 23 points during the regular season and only averaged 17 points
he led
in the playoffs.
Led the league in assists. It was like 10 point something. You know, him and Embiid having a good year together.
But the problem is good teams have their Batman and their Robin. They have their 2 players that step up. I mean, look at Tatum and Brown in game 7 combined for over 70 points. Tatum finally went off. But this is James Harden's numbers. And this goes back to the Brooklyn series. Shot 22% from the field, shot 53% from the field, shot 23% from the field, shot 38% from the field, shot 2 of 5 from 3-point, 3 of 7 from 3-point, 2 of 8 from 3-point, 7 of 13 from 3-point. So, and this is his points for total: 17, 21, 8, and 23. And that carried over to the conference, well, not the conference finals, the semifinals. Yeah. I mean, he shot one game where he shot 56%. And then he had 2 games in between where he was 14.3% and then 21.4%. And then he had another good game where he went 69% from the field. And then he fell off again. You know, your key player cannot go 7 of 27 in games
No.
6 and 7
Nope.
in the fourth quarter.
You can't play well in game 1 and 2 and then not show up in the crucial games that matter.
And he can't have 0 points and 0-6 freaking field goals in games 5 and 7.
And my main
Anthony Rizzo
I see that 2-run home run. My initial thing here too. You have James Harden takes his post presser, right? Talks about his relationship with Doc. Fine, like whatever he said, right? And then you have these rumors speculating that James Harden had a huge push to get Doc fired, which in my mind just doesn't make sense because it seems like him and Houston are mutually loving on each other, and that he might go back to Houston to end his career. But what frustrates me is I grew up where no matter what kind of relationship you have with your coach, like you play, like I played for me, my last name, like I played hard for me, like not in a selfish way, like I'm playing hard for my team and I'm playing hard with the skills that I was blessed with, and for Embiid and Harden to be who they were during the season as this dynamic duo
and combined for 24 points in game 7.
Game 7, it's and this is where I agree with you, and I've talked with Noah about it, and I've talked with other people about it, is like, how do you look at the coach as a GM and owner and be like, you're the reason this team lost? I mean, I have it right in front of me. Like you said, like Embiid, 15 points, 0 for 4 with a 3-pointer. Like game 7, you are almost 7 foot tall. You need to be under the rim, getting any foul or any point. Like we thrive when Embiid can get to the foul line and shoot his foul shots, make his shots, get under the rim. When you have PJ Tucker doing all that work under the rim, like that's a problem. Like Harden, 9 points. I'm excited / curious how the future of the Sixers goes, right? If we let Harden go, I think we get like this huge cap hit. I could be wrong, right? If you're able to let Harden walk, which in my opinion, I could give to I don't care if he walks or stays, right?
We got to get younger, and that's the problem. The big problem is we have Embiid and Maxey is stepping into that role, but we don't have like Boston. We got lucky with Boston even go game 7. I said we were going to be gentlemen swept in this series.
Yeah.
Tatum started out slow in every game, and I messaged you guys in game 6 and said Sixers need a bigger lead because Tatum's going to get hot.
Yeah.
And what did he do? He got hot. But Tatum has, there's Jason Tatum, Marcus Smart, Jaylen Brown, Grant Williams, Robert Williams III, Al Horford, Peyton Pritchard, and Sam Hauser. And these guys give you anywhere from 10 to 20 points a game. The Sixers don't have that. Yeah. The Sixers have no, and one of the things you can fault Doc Rivers is not utilizing his bench properly. That's the one thing. And the whole spread offense drives me nuts because nobody's underneath their rebounding. But you can't have a PJ Tucker who only gives you 3 points a game. Sure, he gives you rebounds, and he's one of those scrappy players. We need a PJ Tucker that gives you 10 to 15 points and then still gets you 15 rebounds. You can't have a James Harden that goes into the playoffs and let me find it. In the semifinals, it has 9 points, 13 points, 17 points, 42 points, 16 points, 12 points, and then 45 points. You need consistency from these players. You need at least what he averages in the playoffs. If you get what he averages and you get Maxey's play, you get Tobias Harris's play, you get Embiid's play, it's a whole different story. We're in the conference finals right now.
I'm cool with Harden leaving, right? I'm cool with Maxey. This is where I'm at. I know we've talked about this off the podcast. I'm cool with Maxey stepping into a role to be in the Sixers guy, right? The face of the Sixers. You can see he has it, during the season, averaging almost 20 points a game. He's only 21, 22 years of age. Keeping Embiid, right? You have 2 great studs. Tobias Harris, 19 points in game 7. He's a good option, right? Like that guy that is in your lineup that if you need someone to score, he can. But me and you talked about this where you look at the Golden State Warriors, they have their center, they have their 2 guys that can shoot. We need someone, whether it's in free agency, whether it's in the draft, that can stand up there with Maxey and drill the 3 consistency. I mean, you look at we said Golden State, but you looked at when CJ McCollum and Dame Lillard were on Portland together, 2 great 3-pointers that are able to consistently give you 20 points a game and show up for it. We don't have that, right? It's always one guy shoots well, one guy doesn't.
Well, this is the Sixers rosters, and this is what they averaged during the season.
Also, we need another center, right? Who in the past 3 years, who has been our backup center
Well,
that is able to.
Paul Reed stepped up
He
in the
stepped
playoffs.
up huge. He
really
stepped, but
did.
he's
He
not.
played
He's
well.
not a natural center though. Isn't he like a power forward or something?
Yeah, but they have Montrezl Harrell, but they didn't even let him touch the floor, which is crazy. I mean, he's another one that
if
can
we
be
can
scrappy.
if we can find a backup center to come off the bench, whether that's in the draft, right? Maybe that's someone you draft who can give you like 12 to 15 points a game coming off the bench to keep up with Embiid, like because Embiid flops, hits the ground a lot. Like he's bound to get injured.
But
right?
the thing is, too, is the Sixers need to learn to do more than the pick and roll. When you have the ball in Harden's hand and until the clock runs down, Joel sets a pick, he drives the lane and passes to Joel. It gets old after a while. You got to get more guys involved. You got to get motions. You got to start moving the ball more. Stop doing this spread freaking offense. That's you have Harden who averaged 21 points. Let him go because he's gonna get like 42 million a year. Let him go. He's 33 years old. Let him go. Bye. Joel Embiid averaged 33 points. You build your team around him. Maxey, who's only 22 years old, averaged 20 points. Tobias Harris, get rid of him. He averaged 14 points during the regular season. You're paying him $34 to $37 million a year.
I don't mind him being on the roster though. He's always healthy. Like he can come off the bench and play well. If I could add one thing into a coach I'm looking for, I'd love for him to get a hold of this Sixers offense and have a consistency where we have our two shooters on the outside and we actually have our big man playing underneath the rim and getting it locked into it. Like, because Embiid is talented, hands down, right? Like, I'm not going to take that away from him. He can shoot the three, but I want his priority to be get the rebound, take the foul, take the 2-pointer. You know what I mean? And if you're completely wide open, go ahead and take it. But that shouldn't be Joel Embiid's first option.
But like there's other names too, like George Niang. You know what?
I'm okay with him going.
You got to go. He averages 8 points a game. Jalen McDaniels, I think he could be a great player. He didn't get much. We picked him up during the trade. He didn't get much playing time. I think he can be a difference maker. Paul Reed, you got to keep. Montrezl Harrell, let him go. Daniel House Jr., he's a scrapper. He's only there because of Harden. Let him go. Max McClung, he averaged 12 points in 2 games for the Sixers this year. Let him play more. That's the guy that won the slam dunk contest. Get rid of Shake Milton. Shake Milton's horrible.
Wait, is that the guy that was in the G League? Did he even get any real court time for the NBA?
He played 2 games for the Sixers and he averaged 12 points. Lewis King is another one. He played 1 game with the Sixers. He averaged 20 points in that game. Get rid of some of these guys that are no name. Korkmaz,
let that young talent come up and try.
Yes, you have a lot of free agents that are coming out too.
Hey, so who's name? I want to hear. What's the top 5 shooting guard free agents? Right. Give me top 5 shooting guards and top 5 power forwards.
Well, shooting guards, you got names like James Harden, who's going to get $42 million. You got Russell Westbrook, who's going to get $46 million. You have Kyrie Irving, who's going to get $34 million.
Don't want any of those
guys. D'Angelo Russell, who's going to get $29
million. Wait. Listen to this.
I would take Fred VanVleet. Fred VanVleet, who played for Toronto. He's cheap, 21 mil.
Is he number 5?
He's not. I'm just going in order.
I would take D'Lo. I would take D'Angelo Russell, him and Maxey shooting. He's good. He's good with the dribbling. He's got a good IQ.
He's been around a while. I'd rather take Fred VanVleet.
He's still younger. I think he might be younger than VanVleet.
You got Karis LeVert, who played for Michigan and he was with Cleveland. He's only getting $17 million. And then there's a guy on here that's really, really cheap that we used to have a long time ago that I would love to take
Drew
back.
Holiday?
Seth Curry.
I would take Curry. I would
take Seth Curry in a heartbeat.
What is he, a shooting guard?
Yeah.
I would take Seth Curry back on the roster.
He can play point too. So I would take him.
He was good with shooting the 3. I would take D'Angelo Russell or VanVleet, like you said. Those are 2 options that I would love to see the Sixers. Now who name me off some power forwards? Because obviously right now we have
Jr.
Sorry. Go ahead.
He's Kelly Oubre Jr. He's a small forward. Kyle Kuzma, I would take him. Let's see who else.
I take Kuzma.
Jeremy Grant, I'll take him from Portland.
Yeah.
Harrison Barnes is on here.
Okay.
Draymond Green's a scrapper. He'll give you 10 to 12 points a game, and he'll give you to go to hard fouls. Kristaps Porzingis, I'm not a big fan of him. Chris Middleton from Milwaukee.
Yeah. Hey, who do you got for shooting forwards?
Small forwards?
Yeah, sorry. I don't know why I said shooting.
Chris Middleton is
Because
one big
because we
name
only
on
have
here.
what PJ Tucker was our starting shooting forward.
PJ
Small
Tucker's more
forward.
of you're shooting your small forward is more like a Tobias Harris. Um,
Not Tobias Harris was a
your
power
power forward is more like your PJ Tucker. The thing is too is we need somebody. I'll tell you right now, if we, and I know no one wants to see old style basketball, but if you put Joel Embiid inside the paint on offense and stop
and
doing
trust
this
your
pick and roll
shooters.
crap,
Trust your shooters.
dude, he's gonna average 38 to freaking 40 points a game if you
Yeah.
go through him. All he has to do is make one move and turn to the basket. It's gonna be harder for them to double team him. And he'd really rip it up down there. And defensively, you got to get these guys under the rim. Stop spreading everybody out. Get guys underneath for offensive rebounding.
Hey, it's a great little thing that's like, it sounds so easy in your mind, but I have this foreman that he told his granddaughter this saying every time that she played basketball, and she went on to like be the all-time scorer in her high school, and she went D1 for basketball. He would look at her and he would say, just give me 4 shots per quarter. Whether they're a layup, whether it's a shoot. So like, this is so dumb because we're not NBA stars, right? But if you could look at Joel Embiid and be like, give me 4 layups a quarter, right? That's 2 points, right? What's 4 times 2? 8. What's 8 times 4? 32. You're averaging 32 points per game just on 4 layups. You're almost 7 foot tall.
And plus
That's
he gets
easy.
to the line. He gets to the line a lot.
That's 4 easy layups for him.
Yeah.
That if he now you think about that, you add more to that, like say you get fouled or you get an and one, or you just happen to get 5 shots per quarter. I mean, like, it's just something so simple like that to think that, like, rather than him, and again, like, he's such a talented guy, like he could shoot the 3, but rather than him doing all this stuff, if he could just get to the rim.
But the thing that annoys me too is about Harden is Harden drives to the basket and he's so out of control. None of his shots even have a chance of going in to get an and one. Or like Maxey drives to the hole in control.
I like Maxey. James
Harden does that whole head flip thing. Like
that's what I'm looking forward
does.
to. Yeah, that's what is Trae Young a free agent this year?
I don't know, but I don't want Trae Young.
Why not? Him and Maxey would be a great duo.
No.
I'm sorry, but Trae Young has that chip on his shoulder.
No, Trae Young, James Harden, and Luka Doncic are the biggest whiners and complainers in the NBA, and that rule was in place because of them.
He's not a free agent.
Head back.
I don't think he's a free agent. I think that somebody I could see him getting traded to Lakers though. But I like a lot of the young talent that we have on the Sixers, and I would love for the new coach, our GM, our owner to really try and grow that and go and get talent out there that matches with that. Like I think of teams like Milwaukee and Boston. Like Boston, homegrown guys. They don't have like one big superstar and a couple guys. And I mean, like Tatum and Brown, they mold so well together. Look, they have their big guys that get the rebounds. Milwaukee, they have a homegrown team. Like it's just like that's what you need. You don't need the teams that fail, and we see this every single year, are the teams that go out and they have a good team and they buy this like big superstar and it just doesn't work out for some reason.
Look, this honestly is going to get probably a lot of freaking flack for me saying this. But I honestly would take Ben Simmons back on this team because Ben Simmons is a great defender, great rebounder, great assist man. The only thing he lacks is shooting. Mm-hmm. But I like guys that will drive to the hole and produce something. And he used to average like 18 points a game because he would drive to the hole, get to the foul line. Then he got mental. You can always fix that.
We talked about that a couple times throughout that season, that if we were to trade somebody, it would be Embiid, because at that time, Ben Simmons was driving with such power to the rim, and he was averaging a little over 20 points per game without even shooting.
You give me the old Ben Simmons back and pick up someone like a Fred VanVleet or a Chris Middleton, somebody that can shoot, clear some cap space, and bring in another like older long in the tooth kind of a player that can get in there. That's what you need. Yeah. You can't have where these guys drive the hole, kick it out to Niang, and he misses 3 3-pointers in a row.
I'd get rid of Niang. I would honestly think about bringing PJ Tucker back as a veteran role, but off the bench, not a starter.
But my thing is if Harden leaves, does his friends leave with him? PJ Tucker.
Who's his friends? I think PJ Tucker. I don't care about House. Together. Don't care about House. I think PJ Tucker liked his time in Philly, but if he goes, that's cool. I don't know what the contract status with him was. I don't know if it was a 2-year deal, a 1-year deal.
Dude, and the NBA just has to change. Like, you got to stop blowing the whistle every time someone drives.
Every time.
Like, I can't even watch the games because of so many fouls.
There's probably a 90% chance. There's probably, like, if you would, like, watch a game, like, the stats behind that, like, there's probably, like, an 80 to 90% chance that when someone drives up for a layup that there's a foul called.
Let me tell you something. this is sad. This is how bad the NBA is. The Lakers were plus 400 in foul calls, meaning they got a lot of foul calls their way. The next closest team was plus 100. In the playoffs, the Lakers had more, I think it was 100 plus calls more than any other team in basketball. Jeez. Because they favor LeBron James.
His son got a huge NIL deal to go to USC.
I don't know. But anyway, it's going to be interesting what the Sixers do. I mean, maybe if Nick Nurse goes there. I think he's from Toronto. Maybe Fred VanVleet comes along with them. They need help. They really do.
I'm excited for the offseason, though. I really am. Just see what happens. Just
I don't want to bring Harden back for $42 million a year. I'm sorry. He's going to be 34 years old. I don't want him. I'm sorry. There's other options out there that are better. And that's my NBA. And I still stand on my NBA thing saying it's going to be the Celtics and the Nuggets in the finals.
Yeah, I don't think the Lakers are going to go.
No, I don't. I think they're going to get a gentleman's sweep. They're going to pick up one game in LA, and then they'll come back to Denver and they'll be over. Which will be kind of interesting. Denver's never been to the finals, so I'm rooting for them. I mean, I can care less. Last night, Jamal Murray went off.
I'm looking at that right now. 23 points in the fourth quarter, and the Lakers only got 24 points in the fourth quarter.
He scored 23 of the 32 points in the fourth quarter. He didn't do nothing in the first half. It was the Lakers game. The Lakers slowed the game down. It was a great pace for them to win it, and they just got sloppy in the end. And next thing you know, Denver's up 12. And Murray it was on a rail, man. And Jokic didn't score any points in the fourth quarter at all. He didn't have to. But yeah, that's where I stand on the NBA.
Let's just move into some quick NFL stuff. I wanted to ask you a question here. I got some stats here for you, and I want you to just say whether or not you would take this quarterback based off these stats. So this first quarterback here, 64.6 completion percentage rate. All right. His career stats, 35,222 passing yards. And 217 touchdowns. That's not like
how many interceptions?
I don't know. I didn't write that down. The quarterback 64. That you would take.
64. Yeah, sure. Why not?
Here's another quarterback for you.
Is he cheap?
Probably compared to everyone else.
Yeah, I'll take him. I like cheap
quarterbacks. That was Derek Carr's career stats.
I'll take him. I like cheap quarterbacks.
This quarterback here has a 66.6 completion percentage. Has a little less. Has 24,943 passing yards. 166 touchdowns. Yes, Dak Prescott.
Yeah.
I don't know. I randomly was like trying to just see like what people have throughout the league.
You know what? The quarterback market is so out of control right now. It's kind of hard to put. Look, I'm still one of those guys that draft a quarterback after 4 or 5 years after his rookie deal, get rid of him, get another one, pick up something off the trash. I just heard a report that Mahomes is going to be the highest paid quarterback before week 1 again.
I saw that.
I mean, this is just ridiculous. You're going to see quarterbacks in 3-year time making over $60 million a year. And I don't care if the salary cap goes up or not. You still got to put good pieces around them.
Good.
Dak Prescott, they're saying Dak Prescott his extension is going to be like somewhere between 52 to 55 million a year. That's
jeez. Let me ask you this:
nuts,
if you're a Dallas Cowboys fan, or just say you're not even a Dallas Cowboys fan, say you're an NFL fan of a team, any team, you don't have a running back. Would you trade for this running back? He's 29 years old. He's a 3-time Pro Bowl. He has played in 102 games. He's a running back. He has rushed for 1,750 rushing yards. So I read that wrong. He already has 8,335 yards rushing and 78 touchdowns.
Zeke?
No. Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry has
Derrick Henry's a beast, man.
Derrick Henry has a lot of rumors going around right now because obviously the Titans are just in this weird situation where they have Ryan Tannehill, don't know if that's their option. They draft the quarterback in Will Levis, who a lot of players talk about how he's got this mentality where he's just working hard. He's focused on it. If you're a team that doesn't necessarily have a starting running back, like say Dallas, for instance, like Dallas has Tony Pollard coming back from injury. Say Titans were like, you give me a 2nd-round pick, I'll give you Derrick Henry. You taking that?
Yep.
Me too, 100%.
He's a beast, man.
He's a beast.
Man. He's a beast. I just saw his workout video. It didn't even look like Derrick Henry, man. This guy's ripped.
Huge, man.
He's ripped, man.
Like you imagine, right? The average size of a cornerback, it's typically like around like 5'8" to 5'10". Like you don't see a lot of 6'10".
You see more of them now.
But your average cornerback is like a 5'10" guy, right? You imagine being in the open field and you have a Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry is 6'3" and 247 pounds.
Dude, you just tuck and roll and throw your body at his legs.
So, like, let me ask you a question. If you're like a safety and like I'm looking right at you, you're Derrick Henry, and you just busted through the line and you're at their 40-yard line or something, like you're in there and there's 40 yards of green behind you. And if he passes you, he's gone.
Remember we asked Jarvis Johnson this question?
Are you running? Like, how do you approach this? Are you running straight at him? Because in my mind, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to run with him and just try and push him out of bounds or something.
I'm going to look out the corner of my eye and see if there's anyone closer to make contact before I do. Because if they can make contact to slow him down, then I'm going for him. But you can't go high on him. You got to go below the waist. You got to go for his legs.
But his legs are so big that I feel like I'd go for
his legs
choice. And I would miss.
You have no choice.
You just have to hope. You have to hope you wrap. You have to hope that your hands get around his legs quick enough and that you just don't let go.
No matter what you do, it's going to hurt like hell.
Oh yeah. Oh my gosh. Or you're going to be turned into a meme like Josh Norman, how he got that huge stiff arm.
I was going to say to us, let's get into records and stuff. I think we should save that for next week when we have Ace back.
Yeah, because the NFL schedule did come out, and the Saints are 31 out of 32 or something like that in the strength. Dude, I'm so pumped, dude, because our offense is looking pretty good on paper, and the defense strength in the honestly, ninth. Our defense. Go ahead.
I'm gonna do my hot take. I have the Cowboys between 12 to 14 wins.
I have my hot take that the Saints
win the division.
13 out of 17 of their games are indoors. Their coldest games are in the beginning of the year.
We go to Buffalo in December.
So on paper, with the same defense that we have and the additions that we made to offense, on paper, the Saints, in my opinion, are a 10+ win team. That's on paper, though. That's on paper, though. You know, God forbid what happens. You know, the scheme doesn't mold with Derek Carr. The offense doesn't mold. Coaches don't mold with the new players. Like anything like that could happen. That's a huge factor of the Saints staying healthy, though, too. You have you have a great wide receiver room now. You have a great running back room now. You got your quarterback. You got your defense. So, like, on paper right now, it is a disappointing season for me as a fan that the Saints don't go at least 2 rounds in the playoffs.
My thing is the professionals, out there, like do their little things on the webpage, had the Cowboys winning 10, had the Saints winning 9 or 8 or 9, have the Eagles winning 11. I tell you what, though, the last 2 years I've been pretty damn accurate on baseball and football as far as who's winning those divisions. Yeah, I mean, you think about it, the Saints are in a division where all those teams are new, right? They're going into new schemes, new coaches, new quarterbacks. Tampa Bay has Baker Mayfield. Carolina has Bryce Young, who could be good. The Falcons have Ritter, right? That could be just again, I'm just basing this all off paper. Saints could easily get 6 wins right there, sweep all of them, right? Just based on young quarterback experience and new offensive schemes and coaches. I'm going to say that again. On paper, I think the Saints should at least get 10 wins, if not more. And it's a disappointing season if they don't. No, the Cowboys get the Jets second week of the season.
Hey, I'm sticking with that hot pick that the Jets are going to go far. I think the Jets are going to win that division. That's unless Miami gets Cook and then adds up to their team, because Cook says he likes being a Viking, but he's open to other possibilities. So Ace, you need to just keep your eye out on that.
I can honestly, and this is just up to week 5. I can see the Jets only having 1 win. The Jets play the Broncos week 5. That's a loss. They play the Chiefs.
How do you know?
They play the Chiefs.
Maybe Sean Payton doesn't.
So no, I'm going to tell you right now. And this was my hot take before Sean Payton even took the job. I said the Broncos are an offensive line away from going back to the playoffs. They loaded up almost $150+ million on their offensive line. But listen, they get the Chiefs in week 4. That's 0-2. They get
again. We don't know. We don't know that.
This is my hot take.
Yeah, I know.
They get the Patriots in week 3, which is their only win. The Cowboys in week 2, so that's a loss.
They might win.
That's 1-3 in Dallas now. They get the Bills week 1, 1-4. But if they're 1-4, I'm telling you right now, Rodgers somehow gets hurt. He doesn't play the 65%, and they screw Green Bay. My theory comes true. They screw Green Bay out of that first round pick.
Let me ask you this. let me ask you this: if they go 3-2 or 4-1 out of those hot teams to face their first 4 weeks, do you think that they're a
I'll eat
playoff
crow.
contender?
With that schedule, if they win, if they're 4-1 or 3-2, yeah.
Say they beat Buffalo and Kansas City,
dude,
like that's Super Bowl, my favorite, in my opinion.
They got what 3 playoff teams right away. 3 playoff teams. 3 playoff teams. Come on. Actually, 4 playoff teams. They get the Chiefs. 4 of their first 5 games are against playoff contenders.
And
there's people out there, saying that the commissioner's schedule was weak for the Jets. They gave them a pass because of Aaron. No, that's a tough schedule.
That's a tough schedule. I think Dallas only gets 5 wins this year.
No, whatever.
I'm just kidding. Hey, I wanted to ask you, there's still some free agents available, obviously. Out of these 3 defensive linemen, I wanted to ask you which one you would sign on your team right now to this date. Each 3 of these guys are about 30 years of age. You have Frank Clark, defensive tackle, who has amazing stats as far as being in the playoffs and Super Bowl for having sacks.
How much money does he want?
I don't know.
That's the problem.
You have Jadeveon Clowney, who has been inconsistent with being on the field. Still a huge guy, former first-round pick. He can, fill the hole. He's a fat boy up there. And then you have Leonard Floyd, it's a little shocking that Leonard Floyd isn't on the team because he has 29 sacks over the last 3 seasons. Again, all 3 of these guys, 30 years of age. Leonard Floyd played with the Rams. Jadeveon Clowney played with the Browns. Frank Clark, obviously from the Kansas City Chiefs.
I'd take any of them.
I love the Saints have filled up a lot of their defense, but if they had like a way of signing Frank Clark for a little bit of cheap money, he comes with a little bit of history from him though. You know what I mean? Like not so great off the field, but that's a guy that's a veteran appearance, like with Cam Jordan. I don't know, like that'd be a huge like pickup in my opinion. I don't think I'd take Clowney though. I think I'd invest either in Clark or Floyd. I just don't think Clowney has shown the signs that he's been on the field enough to be like, yeah, come join our defense.
He's still solid. He's like an Ndamukong Suh guy and a kind of veteran player that you can just, bring in. He's going to be a rotation player, have him play in the middle, fill the holes. I mean, I would take him. I would take him. Definitely, especially if you need some fat boys in the middle to clog those holes, it definitely would take him.
Yeah, there's another guy too. I remember when we had I'm forgetting his name. What was that guy we had on from the Saints?
Oh, Michael Motti?
Oh no, gosh, no. We just had the reporter on. I can't think.
Oh no, I forget. That's all you.
Oh my gosh.
If he listens to this, guess what? You're gonna hear click.
But we talked about that guy from the Colts, Njoku. Forget how to say his name. He's still a free agent too. I
think it comes down to price, and that's always the biggest thing, especially this late after the free agency period, the draft. And now you still have these guys available. Why are they still available? Is it the price range? Though that's the biggest issue because you only have so much cap space after you sign all your free agents and you sign all your rookies. So, what's interesting? Whether the NFL likes it or not, the XFL right now the XFL has 42, I think it is, or 45 players that have been picked up by the NFL, and Ben DiNucci just signed with the Broncos.
So, did you see what Sean Payton said to Ben DiNucci?
Yeah, it's about being a Walmart greeter.
He wasn't playing well. He's like, hey, if it doesn't work out for you, you can always be a Walmart greeter.
That's because the Walmart owners own the Broncos.
Oh, what I wanted to say is, number one, did you see the Saints sign that tight end, Monroe or whatever? Dude, another addition to the team, dude. And we have Juwan Johnson, who was second in receiving touchdowns for tight ends. This is what
you're gonna win that very weak division.
It's stronger. Okay. So the Saints, obviously, I told you, Saints drafted that Kendre Miller guy from TCU. He's the running back. And this is the quote he said I wanted to share with you the other day, which I love because people are still talking about it. Where he's talking about Alvin Kamara here. For number one, Alvin Kamara might even get suspended, but we still have Jamal Williams. But he says, I don't sit too well as a backup, even though I respect Alvin Kamara and everything he got for the Saints and everything he did. But I'm coming for that number one.
Absolutely. That's the mindset you have to have.
I love that mind. That's not cocky. And if people read that the wrong way, he's like, oh, he's going to be a bad vibe to his team. No, that is a guy that wants to play and he wants to help a team win.
That's the guys that come in day one and work his butt off. That's the kind of players you want. The guys that are going to run through a brick wall for you. Those are the kind of players you
That's
want.
the kind of guy that everyone's talked about, Jamal Williams and Alvin Kamara, which I love Jamal Williams. And then this guy steps on the field and doesn't step off the field ever.
That's where the NFL needs to go. Back to players like this that want to play the game and not worry about the finances of the game. I mean, I understand they got to get paid, but you still want those players that are going to freaking commit to the fans and run through a wall. And the end goal is to get to a championship. That's what it has to be about.
Yeah.
Make your money and get to the championship.
I know.
You know what I love about being out here? It's freaking only 6:30 out here, and the Yankees are already in the bottom of the seventh.
Nice.
I love that. I love it. But hey, real quick, we'll jump into NBA real quick. I just had some interesting.
We talked about NBA already. I
mean MLB. My bad. 21 steals on the opening day. I know we're going back a little bit, but it's the most in 100 years.
I love it.
After the end of April, steals were up an insane 54%. Runs are up 14% on the season. Hits are up 9% because of the shift restriction.
Anthony Rizzo's thriving off of it.
Length of games are down an average 27 minutes. The fastest game right now was in Colorado, an hour and 50 minutes. Man, that you don't even finish a beer in an hour and 50 minutes.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
The only thing they're talking about how the fans love the pitch clock, but how the pitch clock might be wearing and tearing the pitchers, which I don't understand how. I think it's just a coincidence that there's a lot of pitchers getting injured right now because you're still pitching the same amount of pitches. You're just not rest. Like I feel like that has no effect. Like whether you have 10 seconds in between pitches or 20 seconds in between pitches, you're still throwing the ball at the same amount of time.
Absolutely. And I just got some crazy numbers I just got off this one site. I got to throw these out there. As we all know, the A's, I think it's almost 100% set now that they're going to Vegas. There's 2 sites they have set for a 33,000 seat stadium. It said the A's are so bad. Attendance in Oakland was fewer than 11 of the 13 AAA games that took place on the same evening. Of those 11, 4 drew more than twice the amount of attendance that the Athletics had for that day. That's crazy. Another stat, or was it? The A's right now have a summer pass deal. It gets you 37 games for $99. That's less than $3 a game.
Jeez, dude.
Freaking nuts, dude. That they're so desperate. The only people there now that are there are basically protesters. And then I had this stat on Bryce Harper, and it goes back into Oakland. Harper is a superhuman. You know, he was hit in the face by a 99-mile-an-hour pitch. Only missed 4 days. You know, he doesn't wear street clothes very well, like some of the players that we know that wear street clothes. Tommy John players. He had Tommy John. Players who have Tommy John average about 11 months of being on the IL or IR, whatever you want to call it. Harper was back in. He was back in 5 months. That's the fastest recovery time in MLB history.
But he's also just DHing, though.
I understand that, but still, you got to swing a bat that still works that same area. In the 5 months of Harper's recovery, the A's starting pitcher set a record for no. Wait, I lost my spot. Here it is. In the 5 months of Harper's recovery, the A's starting pitcher set a record for not recording a win. Starting pitchers not recording a win.
That's crazy.
In its first 33 games. The A's are last in WAR, ERA, run differential, strikeout, opponent batting average. Gave up the more home runs than anyone. Where the hell was it? Got some more. They gave up more hits than anyone, walked the most batters, and hit the most batters than any other team in baseball. They're 8-30, most losses in baseball. Their stadium is so bad. The Mets organization, they bring their own announcers to the game. They had to move out of their press box because they had a possum in there that just urinated and defecated all over them while they were in there. And it smelled so bad.
I don't think they're trying to keep the stadium nice. I think they're just trying any way they can to get out.
There's video of pitchers in the bullpen, and there's possums running underneath the benches where they're sitting, going through like the bags and stuff. They have feral cats, over 100 feral cats that are running around the stadium. It's just out of control. It's just so freaking bad.
I guarantee the owner was like in a meeting or something. He's like, "Hey, we're not gonna tidy this stadium up. We're not gonna worry about any of that kind of stuff. We're gonna make it look really bad."
Dude, the A's are dead last in payroll with $66 million. 3 teams right above them, Baltimore, Pittsburgh, and Tampa Bay. Three of them were one of the best teams in baseball at that time. Tampa Bay has the 3rd lowest payroll. They started 13-0. They lead 20 major league categories offensively and defensively. Cole, this is what blew me away. Cole and Judge for the Yankees, both of them to combine is $74 million, only $2 million less than the entire Rays roster of 76 million.
Jeez.
The Mets are paying two pitchers on their roster $88 million. The entire Rays pitching staff, which is 14 pitchers, is only $22 million.
Jeez.
Crazy.
Well, I wanted
Crazy.
to say a little thing about the Harper thing is like, I think that the example of Harper being back in like 5 months and then 4 games after getting hit in the face, I think that just shows you what players love the game and what players are just content with like kind of floating around and okay with missing time. Like,
I got something to say about him then.
I think Harper's like, you look at that and you're like, that's a player that wants to win and he doesn't want to miss time. Like, he just truly loves this game of baseball. I think it's easy like for players to get injured, and I'm not saying that all these players do this, but like to be like, all right, like I can go home and spend some time with my family. I can just kind of relax and kind of milk this. I'm getting paid millions of dollars. I don't have to travel. I can just kind of sit at home and relax. But like Harper's just one of those guys where he's like, no, I want to be on the field.
The thing about Harper, I applaud him. He's a great player, the whole 9 yards. The thing I don't like about him, though, is he's a real puss when it comes to people celebrating that he doesn't like. A pitcher struck him out, and he struck out twice in that game, and the pitcher celebrated by pumping his fist or something. Harper basically almost got himself ejected because he like wanted to storm the field. The bench is cleared. You know what? These
that's always been a thing. Even in the 80s and 90s, like you're frustrated.
Let me finish. These batters nowadays, you know what? They can celebrate, they can bat flip, they can pose and stare at it, and they can trot around the bases real slow. They do all this fancy stuff.
Yeah.
And pitchers should be allowed to do the same thing.
I agree.
Why can't they? Why can't they celebrate a huge strikeout? If you don't like it, too bad. Go to the bench and cry about it.
Yeah.
But at the same token,
the batting cage.
next time you throw a bat flip and then you get drilled the next time you're up, don't complain about it.
Yeah.
Because he just did exactly what you did.
I agree.
So
I agree.
Anyway, the Yankees, man, I tell you what, the NL East, AL East, I mean, is freaking amazing. Every team is over 500. The Boston Red Sox are in last place at 24-20. The Yankees are one of the hottest teams in that division right now. They just had a huge freaking series against Tampa Bay Rays where they split, and against the Blue Jays where they won that series. They're 7-3 in their last 10, so they're starting to turn things around. Hopefully, things are going to turn around pitching wise. Severino had he had a rehab session in the minor leagues. Tommy Kalie is going to do a rehab session. Stanton's doing a rehab session. Donaldson, you know what? You could just pack your bags and go home. He was doing a rehab session. Then he ended up getting hurt or something again because him and his daughter were putting together a dollhouse or something. He cut his finger, so now he's out for extended time.
I like Bader. And Volpe's getting hot too. They moved Volpe down the lineup, and then 1 week after that, I mean, he's batting over 300. 9 extra base hits, something like that. He's been hitting home runs. Like, he looks comfortable now.
The Yankees are starting to get clutch hitting what they need. I mean, the last couple of series before these two big ones, they were depending too much on the home run to get them wins. They're starting to get more hits during the games now. Rizzo's getting hot. I think Hicks is batting like 376 in his last couple of games.
Just like last year, Rizzo is, especially with the shift change, like Rizzo's thriving.
Yeah, Volpe is second in home runs for rookies. He got 6 now. He has 7 now. He's only 1 behind the leader who has 8. The pitching staff, which is amazing. You only have Cole and you have Nestor, who are your actual starters. And everyone else is just kind of filling in and
what's the guy's name
roles.
again that we got? Rendon. When does he come back?
He just got a cortisone shot in his back and he's having no issues from it. So who knows when he's going to rehab or what's going on?
Like, you know how badly he probably wants to be on that field. Like, having a setback like that's got to be so bad.
Absolutely. You get him back and you get Sevy back, and Sevy's strong. I mean, Rendon is going to be, I think, our only lefty on the roster.
We haven't seen one game with him either. That sucks, man.
Yeah. I think, is Rendon a lefty? I think he's a lefty.
I think he is. I want to say yes.
So we need him back. Oh, no. Nasty Nestor's a lefty.
Nestor's a lefty, yep.
Yeah. But the young kids are actually showing their strength in the bullpen. They're keeping us above water. So I think the last couple of games, I think we've only allowed like 1 run. Against Toronto, I love the outfield. I don't think we allowed a run, our bullpen. So yeah,
I love the outfield. We talked about it too. Cabrera, Bader when he got healthy, and Judge.
Trade Hicks now that he's hot. Trade Hicks that he's hot. He had 3 hits last night.
Absolutely. Get rid of him. I still like our outfield depth.
Bring Jason Dominguez up. He needs to be up.
I think so too. And that's crazy how young he is.
Yeah. You know, I was going to ask. Like, I
that's like one of those things where he's got the crayon, the birth certificate. I am 12.
Yeah, I can see these idiots doing something where they trade Glaber or something like that. It's dumb. And now we lost Trevino last night. He's on the DL now, so our catchers are basically Higgy and somebody we just called up. So yeah, the Yankees I don't know what it is. The last couple of seasons, it's like the place where you go where your season is ending up with injury because I don't know what it is.
Tired of injuries, man. It's tough seeing injuries. I've had it. So many of my teams.
But surprisingly, the Twins, Ace don't want to talk about the Twins, but they're still sitting in first place by 3.5 games. The Rangers, shockingly, are still in first place down there in the West. They got a 2-game lead on the Altuve return for the Astros. So, see what happens, man. See what happens. The shocking thing is, and this is how bad the NL Central is. Pittsburgh is 23-20.
I was just gonna ask, what's Pittsburgh's?
Dude, they lost 7 in a row. Now they're 3-7 in their last 10, and they're only a game out of first place. The Brewers are 24-19, and it's wide open. And I think that's the
Braves,
great thing.
Look at the Braves, man.
Dude, I think that's the great thing about this new scheduling, where you don't face your own teams a lot. Mm-hmm. You get to play all these new teams, so it keeps everything close because everyone's playing.
Look at the Reds. The Reds are still close in first. The Diamondbacks, that was a big shocker too. The Diamondbacks are still holding on right there.
No, I mean the Cardinals are 8-2 in their last 10. They're 19-26. They projected them for over 100 wins this year, and they're sitting there last place, only 6 games out. They're 9-14
love to see how
at home.
Jordan Montgomery's playing.
Dude, the Rockies are 19-25. They're only 8.5 games back.
We called that the Orioles would be good this year.
Yeah.
28-16, man. They have a lot of good young talent.
We need to get that pitcher on.
Mm-hmm. We need to get that what?
Oh, that pitcher from the Orioles.
Oh, gotcha. Well, they're not going to trade anybody.
Morgan McSweetie.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, definitely. Well, that's about wrapped up, right? Is all you got?
Yep. Yankees are winning.
Yeah.
Pittsburgh's winning 11-1.
You guys can watch this on YouTube or anywhere that you can find your podcast where you watch them. Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, wherever you want to watch it. If you look on YouTube, you'll see our beautiful faces.
Gotta apologize for missing last week. It was my 27-year wedding anniversary.
It was. Congratulations, 27 years of marriage.
27 years.
Any words of wisdom to anyone out there who's married?
Never go to bed angry.
It's good advice.
Never go to bed angry. Never, ever put a barrier up between you. Stay strong. If you hate each other that night, go to bed, pick it up where you left off in the morning. And you know what? You don't see it too much. The number one biggest killer for marriages is financial. You just got to stay strong. You'll get through it. Put it all up to God. Whether you believe that or not, God will carry you through. Well, I can do a whole podcast on God, what he has done for us. Really can. Really
I know, man. I know. We have to hop on my other podcast one day.
Absolutely. I can go off on. I got a lot of good things to say. Got a lot of good things to say.
Hey, well, we hope you guys enjoy your weekend. Next week is Memorial Weekend. I'll be in PA.
That's nice. I don't miss PA.
I don't either. I'm going to go see some buddies though, and maybe I'll see the nephews and nieces. We'll see what happens. But we hope you guys enjoy this podcast. Enjoy your weekend, and we'll see you next week with Ace, hopefully back with us.
Hey.